James. I'm not sure I would describe this as pleasant. It's quite unpleasant actually. But this is the northernmost pan of 3 in a row pan, and it's full of water for the first time in a very, very long time. The elephants actually pulled out their pipes, from what I understand, making it impossible for them to pump every single pan in 3 in a row pan. But they appear to have remedied that, and I think that's the reason behind the smell. I think it's just because this pan has been dry for a while, and it's now got water in it. Oh, there's a leopard. Surprise! That was interesting. Hello, gorgeous. You're beautiful. Are you the lovely leopard that left the tracks behind? You don't look like a leopard that I have ever encountered before. Well, that was a pleasant surprise. Hey, guess what? My leopard tracking did go better than I expected. Let's go find out who's resting up on this termite mound. How wonderful! What wonderful luck we have had. Hey, high five, Brian. High five. Hey, it just goes to show you never know what to expect on a live safari, and when you are chatting about the smell of a pan, you might want to lift your head up and look elsewhere, for there may well be a leopard there. I'm just going to pop my car into low range. I don't know this leopard, and I always have an approach with animals that I'm unfamiliar with, to just approach very cautiously as I might if it were a skittish leopard. It's not a skittish leopard, clearly. But because I don't know it, I do just want to have an extra level of caution. Who on earth have we got here? Hello. Aren't you gorgeous? This must be... Ooh, I'm about to drive into the pan itself. This is not a female, so there's still a female hiding in this area. This is not a female. Is this quarantine? I have never met this leopard before. I need your help, guys. Who have we got here? Which leopard have we got? I think this is quarantine. My very first time seeing him. I think it's him, and I'm absolutely thrilled. Hello, boy. It is a pleasure to meet you. Aren't you absolutely gorgeous? I'm just trying to think if there's a better way to view him in terms of repositioning the vehicle, just so that Brian's got a slightly better view of his face. It's definitely not his tracks that we were looking at earlier. So there we go. It seems the general consensus is that this is quarantine, and I couldn't be more thrilled because this is the first time that I have seen him. I have never ever... Quarantine did used to... I mean, he grew up on Djuma, and he dispersed with his brother Kunuma just before I started working for WildEarth. And then he keeps making appearances every time I'm on leave. Every time I'm on leave, he decides to come onto Djuma, catch a kudu or something similar, and then when I return, he disappears. So to see him is an absolute pleasure. I was just quite surprised that I didn't notice beforehand. Absolutely wonderful, and James doing a fantastic job of calling it in to give me a hand. And he's blinking sleepily in the sun. So yesterday, as I mentioned, he had a slight confrontation with Shvimbambalana, his older brother, another leopard that I have yet to see. I'm not sure what the outcome was. I think probably there, as with most leopard conflicts, it was resolved by one of them walking away. Leopard fights are relatively rare, Sorry, I'm listening to elephants in the distance. Something's upset them terribly. Oh, goodness. Very upset. Okay, I just need to call this in on the Eastern Channel. James has called it in on our Northern Game Drive channel, and there's lots of chatter happening in my ear, so I just need to be able to turn one of them off. Morning stations, 1 mid-order Ingwe at static at 3 in a row pan. There we go. Oh, never mind. That went through to poor old Jerry and the lovely Kirsty in final controls, because we've got too many radios here. And that's of course why I need to just maneuver things. Sorry everybody, we will get back to talking about this amazing male leopard in a moment. I do just need to call this in. Morning stations, 1 mid-order Ingwe static 3 in a row pan. And I presume everybody heard me, and if they didn't, oh well, there's not much more I can do about it for now. He's found himself the perfect patch where he's hidden in the shade. Now, just going back to the Shambambalana and quarantine conflict, most leopard arguments are settled relatively peacefully. There's a lot of growling, a lot of posturing, but they actually very, very seldom come to blows. Things are going to change, though, as quarantine starts to grow older. So at the moment he's not really he hasn't quite reached his prime. He will be much smaller than Shambambalana in terms of just weight, and he isn't yet ready to compete for territory here, or he might be. It does all depend on attitude, and of course his twin brother Kunuma famously, it was suggested, caused some serious trouble in Londolozi with one of their dominant male leopards. But chances are he's going to remain relatively subservient to Shambambalana for now. But that is going to change. Shambambalana has established this as his territory, as he is dominant in this area. And things will be interesting when quarantine in about a year and a half, maybe even less than, maybe even a year's time, where the two of them are going to be of relatively equal size, and the conflict becomes a little bit more tricky. And it remains to be seen exactly how that's going to play out. But fortunately, WildEarth will be here to follow the story. And what an absolute wonderful surprise this sighting has been. I wonder where the female is, because it definitely was not male leopard tracks that I saw earlier in terms of their size. Oh, he's looking up. I wonder, I believe that when Brent was with him yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he was actually looking quite hungry. I wonder whether or not he's managed to obtain a meal or not. Hello, boy. This is so awesome. Look at those incredible eyes of his. Sort of a light jadish color. It always is such a pleasure encountering new leopards. We love seeing our characters, and our well-known and our well-loved characters, but for us it is incredibly exciting whenever we get to see or meet a new character, especially one like Quarantine that I've heard so much about. That intense leopard stare that he's currently fixed upon us, or before finding a more comfortable spot to snooze. And he's big. He's much bigger than I expected him to be. I don't know why. I mean, I just had an image in my head of quarantine, having seen photos from when I first started here. Brent showed me photos of quarantine in Kunuma, and it's obviously a year later, a year's worth of growing. He has definitely starting to develop that really thick neck of a full-grown male. Okay. Just shifting to a more comfortable spot and making life slightly more tricky. And let us reposition and see if we can't get another view of his head, although there's his lovely tail now visible to us. Stretched out, and his spot is perfect because it's got a little bit of shade and it's also sheltered from the wind that started to blow once again. Seems as though whenever I make a trip across to Cheetah Plains, the wind starts to howl. Okay, let's reposition so we can have a view of his face. Hold on a second, I'm stuck in my blanket, bear with me. It's wrapped around my legs to keep me warm in the long Cheetah Plains trip. Now, quarantine and Kunuma, from what I've heard, are actually okay. So he came from in here. So the female that we were tracking was a little bit further to the north, and I wonder where she went off to. I wonder what the relationship between Inkanyeni and quarantine is like. While we shift about to see what he is staring at intently, let's go across briefly to James to see what he's found.
Well, that is a severe stroke of luck that we've all had, everyone. Well, I say we. I like to include myself in these things. Of course, I am not viewing quarantine male leopard. I am viewing some Egyptian goose. 2 Egyptian geese, a number of ring-necked doves, some black Smith lapwings, and also... Can you hear that, Dave?
They out. They might, of course, not notice him at all. And they're not really a threat to him, or is he a threat to them? But there is the battle of prey and predator that plays itself out, and elephants don't take kindly to the presence of leopards in their space, or any of the predators. He could not be more unconcerned. And the elephants are on edge because the wind is blowing. There's one female in particular that hasn't quite found herself a comfortable spot yet to drink. I think that is because she is smelling him. The air is filled with the sound of slurping elephants. One very big drink. Oh, oh, oh. Uh-oh. Here we go. He hasn't been spotted yet. There's a good chance that the first thing to spot him will be an elephant calf, just because their eyesight is actually better than that of an adult elephant. I've seen it with baby rhino as well. They also see better than the adults do. Some pushing and shoving going on there. Hello, guys. Hello. It's alright, girlie. I didn't cause any trouble. Okay, girl. Okay. It's alright. There's a leopard here. Please don't get a surprise and blame me for it. Okay. Oh, it's a boy. That's why he's causing nonsense. That's okay, boy. Now that changes things. Wesley, do I think that these elephants feel threatened? Yes, I do. They're clearly upset by something. It's not us. It might be that they encountered another leopard elsewhere or another predator. It might just be the wind. But either way, no, this is not a comfortable herd of elephants, and they're about to spot him. I'm surprised that they haven't yet, but he's remaining completely still. How amazing is this? What an absolutely awesome shot. Two of Africa's most iconic animals. Absolutely extraordinary. And blue butterfrog. I'm saying, don't elephants dislike lions more than they dislike leopards? I'm not sure that they... Oh, there's an impala as well. It's going to want to come and drink, and he's going to wait until the elephants move off, and that's also going to add some interesting drama to the sighting that we have here. Oh, I think the elephants are actually going to move off in a different direction, and quarantine reigns supreme for now, at least in terms of his hiding skills. He has kept totally still and evaded the notice of the elephants. What you looking at, little boy? That little nonsense causer wants to chase the impala, which is very silly, because he's not going to get anywhere if he does that. The elephants are completely upwind. Remember how I said the wind is blowing from my right? The elephants are completely upwind of quarantine, and they have no idea that he's been watching them this entire time. But sorry to Blue Butterfrog, I got distracted. Yes, elephants dislike lions. I'm not sure that they dislike them more than leopards, but lions are just, I think, smellier. Oh, big yawn. Was that just so boring, quarantine? Not exciting watching a whole herd of elephants come and have a drink. Lions are very smelly. They are very pungent animals, so much so that we notice the difference as human beings. And I think because they're social creatures, there's more of them around, and the elephants make more of an effort to chase them away. And yes, then of course there's also the knowledge that a lion is probably the only predator out here that is capable of, if they put their mind to it, tackling and killing an elephant. Cryptic colouring of a leopard, giving us a very clear indication of just how it works. Because Shamsun at one point, in terms of distance, that the closest elephant probably came within about less than 20 meters, so less than 60 feet of where quarantine is lying there. They're now a bit further away. They're probably about 40 or no, less than 30 meters, 90 feet away, drinking on the opposite side of the dam, having a wonderful time. Little one. Bit more tricky when your trunk's not so long. Very difficult to reach down and not actually find yourself falling in to the water, which does occasionally happen with baby elephants. And they have decided that they're going to move off in the opposite direction, I think. Or maybe not. Some of the more thirsty ones. The thing is, on that side of the area, that's where the fresh water comes in, so that's where the elephants usually go to drink, because elephants are fussy drinkers. But there's a very high wall there, which makes it a bit more tricky. Look at that. Has he been spotted? Little elephant knows something, but it hasn't worked out. And quarantine appears to have frozen. There we go, a bit of movement. Look at that little one. It's attracted by movement, but it didn't realize what is there. It senses something, but doesn't know what it is. It isn't brave enough to go and investigate. That's what I meant when I said the younger elephants have different, better eyesight to the adults. This is an incredible sighting. Well, hey Brian, good idea. Well done, good idea coming to Cheetah Plains. This was Brian's suggestion, and I think it was a marvelous one. Now, our little elephant has moved off, obviously dismissed its suspicions that it was about to encounter a leopard, and moved off with the rest of its herd. But there's a lot of vocalization happening with the different members of this herd, and we heard them screaming when we first arrived here, trumpeting away. Perhaps screaming is a slightly misleading way of describing it. Anna Marie, yes, elephant trumpeting sounds do mean different things. We might not be able to understand or interpret all of them. Yesterday he was being chased by buffalo. Today he narrowly avoided being chased by a herd of elephants. And off they go, none the wiser for their close encounter with one of Africa's most mysterious predators. The leopard has gone completely unnoticed, as he did with us when we first stopped at the pan to have a look around. Absolutely awesome. That was really one of the most amazing leopard-elephant encounters I've ever watched. Not that they actually encountered each other, but just in terms of the scenery, it was absolutely breathtaking. Another big yawn, knowing of course that with big cats, very often when they yawn like that, when they start to groom their feet, they are a lot of the time thinking about getting up and shifting, either to just find a more comfortable pose or to move off in search of prey. Speaking of which, I don't know where that impala went. It got intimidated by the elephants and it ran off. But there are impala around, and at some point they are going to want to come for a drink. Very, very cool. I'm just waiting for a moment before we do reposition to see what he's going to do. I do want to just see if he's going to move or if he's going to stay there. Perfectly nestled between the two borry bushes. He is gorgeous. I've met Quarantine, Kunuma, Quarantine's twin brother, once, very, very briefly. So this is one of my longest encounter with Karula's previous litter. While we think about where would be best to put ourselves and what our best view is going to be of this magnificent cat, James is back up and running. Not literally, but the bushwalk backpack is back up and running. Let us head across to him for a quick update.
Righty, sorry about that everybody. We changed our batteries and now we seem to be up and running again, as Jamie says. I heard her link there, and when she referred to the magnificent cat, I almost for a second thought she was referring to me, but of course she isn't. She's referring to Quarantine, the male leopard. We are going towards the hyena den on Gallagher Shortcut. With any luck, there will be some hyenas there. That's why we're going to the hyena den after all. It is not simply to look at the salubrious neighbourhood that is the Gallagher Shortcut hyena den. The battery on the bushwalk backpack is giving us a little bit of trouble, mainly because it's being required to do quite a lot more than it does normally. But we're okay now. We should be okay for the next 25 minutes or so. I'm not sure how long James is going to be able to do those with that leopard, because I know that there are thousands of people converging on cheetah plains now, because not much else has been found anywhere around the place. So we'll see. We're not too far from the den site. I would very like to see those little black cubs. I've only seen them once, and that was almost probably 10 days ago now, which is just too long to be away from little ones. And I don't know what the conclusion of what Herbert Karula was. The conclusion as to what it was. That is actually she's, I don't know. And there's much delightful apricity today. Candace in Cape Town's my new favourite word, apricity. David, you're still alive back there, are you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Geraldine, are you still there? Oh, good. Phew. I thought we were alone, everybody, for a second there. Right, we're at the hyena den. Let's go and have a look. Someone's been in here relatively recently. I'm not sure if they're still in there. The creaking boat that is the Mahindra. Oh, there is someone here. Let me just call them quickly before we blunder in there. Station at Hyena Den, come in. It's Herbert. Herbie, have you got visual of anything there? Can we come in? Oh, and the babies.
Will you mind to give me 2 minutes? I'll be moving out soon.
Okay, no problem, Herb. We'll wait here. The babies are there, but Herbie says there's only space for one vehicle, and he's going to leave in the next 2 minutes or so. So, Jerry, is Jamie ready for a link, or should we do a loop around? All right, let's go across to Jamie while we wait to see what happens here.
Well, James waits to go to the hyena den. I'm just going to move up to give yours a good view of our beautiful leopard as well. Go ahead, Mike. That's affirmative, Mike. There were tire tracks over them already. The Maduro and Kwanzo. Sorry, guys. Just chatting to Mike. There we go. Oh, this is... This is absolutely wonderful. A playful roll in the sand, and then an intensely focused look off behind us. I'm looking to see whether or not he's spotted something that we haven't. Looking around. And is he going to go for a drink? He's definitely, now that we've seen him up and about, he is definitely empty-bellied and in need of a good feed. Here he goes wandering along the water's edge. He's going to have a quick drink. I'm going to reposition quickly for us, just so that we've got a view of him from the side. There we go. Absolutely awesome. Okay guys, things are going to get a little bit tricky on the game drive comms. Bear with me one moment. Mike, there's just yours and myself in the sighting. Because we can't copy all of the responding stations, maybe if you can just keep an ear out for who's coming, but you are more than welcome to make your way. Oh, he's just so magnificent. Absolutely gorgeous. And he is hungry, he's on alert, he's looking for something to eat, and I think he's decided that the patience game is not paying off. He is going to start moving off in search of a meal. Okay guys, things have changed now on the Game Drive channel. There are several vehicles waiting to approach. We're fine for now. As soon as a Taxon starts to enter the area, then we will have to pull out. But we're going to stay with him for as long as possible. Okay, let's go. Hopefully I'm... quarantine now mobile south, past the last southernmost pan of 3 in the row pan. Here we go. Let's pull up alongside the magnificent male. Alright, we've still got a bit of time with him. Let's go up here. And he is absolutely magnificent. Let's make the most of our sighting with him, but I am going to have to get onto the Game Drive channel in a moment. So while we watch him stride away, let's enjoy what might be the last view of him, depending on the position of the other vehicles, as he marches forward. No problem, Mike. And it seems as though James has got a very special surprise for you. It's just a morning full of excitement. Let's go and see what he has found.
Look everybody, there's little baby hyena cub, and we've come to the den and there they are, and that's just marvellous. All is perfect peace here, and interestingly we've only seen one cub here. I don't know where the other one is, and the last time we saw them, Jamie made the very good point that one of them seems to be completely dominant over the other, and that dominance may eventually result in, of course, siblicide, or certainly starvation for the other one. And the other one, Jamie thought looked noticeably smaller, and noticeably less able to defend itself. So let's hope it's still in there. Maybe it's just fed already. Now maybe this is the less dominant one actually. All right, let's go back to the leopard. Apparently we have to say goodbye to him.
Come in, Tax, it's fine, I'll pull out. Oh, in that case, no, we don't have to pull out. Sorry, guys, I thought we were going to be saying goodbye. But, thanks, yours. Cheers. But we don't have to leave just yet, because yours has very kindly provided us with a little bit of space to view him. How marvelous. I want to see if he marks his territory here. Is he going to urine spray, or is he not? I am, however, going to give the best view to Tax, who's just come in, so his guests haven't had a chance to spend as much time with this leopard as we have. He is too. He is scent marking. Not fully, but he did urine spray on that particular bush. It is interesting. That's just because what we were talking about at the start of the drive about the fact that he's not yet competing for territory, but it seems as though he might be. While we reposition and try and find you a nice view, perhaps try and stay with him, let's go back to James and the wonderful hyena cubs.
No changes here, everybody. Still just the one cub having a nice suckle, seeing what's going on, enjoying the apricity of the morning. You see that, David? You see them both enjoying the apricity there. Apricity, for those of you who don't know, means the warmth of the sun on a cold winter's morning. Thank you, Candace in Cape Town, for that one. So, we're just trying to find out where the other little cub is. I have seen not hide nor hair of him or her, and I cannot tell whether the cub we're looking at now is a male or a female. It's still completely black. There's the other one. Yay, look. This is fantastic. Hooray. Both are fine. That's marvellous. I don't see any noticeable difference in size. But I mean, that's because I haven't had a great view of either of them. Let's just see if the other little one comes out. I think trying to get a bit of a suckle from the rear end there, which I think is quite difficult given the steepness of the den. I've looked into that hole. It's very steep. It goes straight down. And just a little bit of movement, and I know that you're hearing, not your hearing, but our ability to transfer the sounds of this scene are not particularly good at the moment, but we can hear the little one inside the den going very high-pitched squealing sounds. It now seems to have disappeared back inside. Let's have another look with the binoculars. Hello Justin, a very nice question from you about when the cubs start to lose their spots and or lose their black colour and get their spots. You see them in the sun, they're already starting to get a bit of spotting. But Justin, normally when they start to spend more and more time out of the den, so those spots will fade from now until they are about, I'd say about 4 or 5 months, then there's absolutely none of that black colour left, it's purely the spotting. It's almost like that black colour sort of splits apart into the spots. I mean, it isn't what happens, but that's kind of what it looks like. Just having a very, very hard suckle. Now, of course, most other predators, many predators, have got 4, all the cats have got 4 nipples, 4 teats. The dogs, many more, sometimes up to 8 or 9, at least 8 or 10, I think. Hyenas, only 2. Only 2, which I think is quite interesting. They're in... Oh, there's the other little one. Now at the back, up the top. Looks like a little chimpanzee. And they, because of that, of course, they cannot produce, or they cannot support more than 2 cubs at a time. And often, you have the situation where if they give birth to 3 cubs, which is possible, unlikely but possible, then definitely one of them is going to die, because she only has 2 teats from which to feed them. I'm sorely tempted to try and get another different angle on this, Davy. It might result in the cubs going inside, but I think they'll come out again. But just because I think we might be able to get both of them if we sneak slightly forward. Let's just wait here for a second, just in case that other one does pop its head out. Alright, while we move around, let's go across back to quarantine.
We are still with our magnificent male leopard as he goes off in search of something to catch and to eat. And what a marvelous way to finish off our Saturday morning sunrise safari. And as he goes along, he is scent marking regularly, spraying his urine onto the bushes and scraping his feet. And no wonder Shimbambalana's not... Oh, hello. Terribly impressed with him. Surprise photobomb from one of the other vehicles. And as I said, I am letting them just go ahead of us because we've spent so much time with him and the guests in that vehicle haven't. So they can take prime position as we come through to the end. And we are going to have to pull out in a moment. Oh, be prepared again. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tax. Giving us a good view. Moving right up to the side. I'm not going to follow him into this drainage line. He is going to disappear in. Let me just let Tax go ahead of me here. There's only space for one of us. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Ephraim. How are you? Good, thank you. You snuck up on me. I didn't hear you coming. Yeah, east, but from the southernmost pan. Yeah, but highly mobile. Okay. Cool. Cheers, guys. Whoop, sorry about the judder, everybody. Let's catch up. Ephraim snuck right up on me. I did not know he was there at all. Let me move over so that his guests can have a view as well. Sorry, guys. As I said, the guests haven't had a chance to spend as much time as we have, so we are going to let them move ahead of us. Here we go. And as soon as he does go into this drainage line itself, then we are not going to be able to keep up with him. So we'll go for one last, oh, let's go there, one last view. Oh, rusty. Fine, we'll go one last view here. And we will say farewell to quarantine. My first time encountering this particular male leopard. And what a special sighting it has been, a very memorable one for the first time in seeing him. Well, Cheetah Plains brought us some fantastic luck. And bravo to Brian for suggesting that it was perhaps time to make our way east and encountering a first leopard for me. Quarantine. One of Karula's younger sons. And as he disappears off, we've got plenty to anticipate for the sunset safari. We're going to leave him be for now. Hopefully we can catch up with him there. In the meantime, we have come now to the end of our sunrise safari. So as always, a big bravo and thank you to Brian for his fantastic camera work as always. And I think you'll all agree that elephant leopard sighting is something that will go down in terms of being something truly extraordinary. I'm going to keep babbling on until the thumb has had time to disrobe and make an appearance for the last few moments. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Thank you to Jerry and to Kirsty in Final Control. Well done, Jerry. Back on the job once again. And thank you to all of you. Bye-bye, and we'll catch you in a few hours.
Wonderful sighting here, everybody. The 2 cubs have come out. We managed to move, and thankfully they didn't run away from the car. And now they're sort of, I mean, it looks deeply uncomfortable to me. If I was a hyena mother and I had my bits being tugged at by two different angles like that, I'd probably be very upset. I just think this is an amazing sighting. Look at them. They are having a bit of a scrap over who gets what. But it's a beautiful sighting, especially of Mum. Mum looks stunning. See the wind starting to come up now just behind her. And they've been squealing and shouting at each other. And obviously milk of a premium. Now let's just check if we can see any size difference there. I'm not sure that I can see a size difference. Maybe the one underneath slightly smaller, at least slightly bigger. What do you think, Dave?
Oh, I would agree with that.
But also, look at the nick. Out of the one underneath's ear, you can see a very definite nick from the right-hand ear there. And I'm pretty sure that's from a bite that's come from a sibling. And they are drinking very, very strongly. Now, what we can see, if you look, Dave, if you get in between the legs of the one at the back there, that looks very much to me like a female pseudo-penis that's just popped out there. And for those of you who are slightly unfamiliar with the situation, what happens is that they've both got all sort of what look like male genitalia. The only way to tell the difference is the shape of the end. So on the males, it's pinched off, the penis is pinched off. On the females, the pseudo-penis just tends to be kind of pointed at the end with no sort of difference in the shaft. And I think that's a little female there that's on top. Now she's taken over that teat. That's interesting. And Mum very patiently just lying there. She'll have to go off every so often. You know that we've been to this den 3 or 4 or 5 times and found nothing here. That's because Mum has to go off and hunt. She has to go and eat. The hyenas don't feed each other in the same way that wild dogs do. So she will have to kind of fend for herself. Yes, she can join the others on a hunt or at a kill site, but it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely that she'll manage to sort of bring something back here and enjoy it. So I wonder how her milk production is going. She looks pretty well fed. Okay, everybody, that's going to be it from us today. Nice closing with that beautiful leopard, elephants, wonderful hyenas here right at the very death of our cold and precipitous drive. Thank you, David, for your efforts. Big thank you to Jerry in the final control with Kirsten. Big thank you to Jamie, of course, and Brian on the other vehicle. And all of you. We'll see you later at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Bye-bye.